Raider Nation, what's going on? Today's Raiders Report is brought to you by Tavour. If you guys like craft beer, well, guess what? I got an awesome offer for you guys. Go to Tavour.com right now. Sign up for free, and you're going to get $10 off on your very first purchase when you use promo code CHATSPORTS. I'm drunk in love on the Raiders, and the first news bit I got for you guys coming up here is Jon Gruden. He's still proud of his team. So Gruden said that he was proud of his team following his press conference and stated that the Raiders' schedule has actually been really tough. And I didn't really understand how you could be proud of an 0-3 team. And then I went back and I looked at it. I mean, they played the Rams, they played the Dolphins, and the Broncos. Those teams combined right now are 8-1. So I think ultimately they've played those teams really, really tough for 3 quarters. And then the last quarter has been the frustrating one, right? So, guys, I want to know from you, though, one word to describe your feelings towards the Raiders right now. One word. It could be pissed. It could be frustrated. It could be drunk because maybe you drank too much Tavour. Like, one word to describe your feelings toward the Raiders right now. Guys, be descriptive. I don't want you to hold anything back. And anybody who's watching the show knows that this is a guy that I've talked about all offseason. And the next one coming up here, my next news bit, is a guy on Navarro Bowman. Now, Navarro Bowman absolutely ripped the Raiders this past week, and he said something that I thought was pretty interesting, right? So, he said this. He said, "Karma is real. Hashtag I'm still waiting." Navarro Bowman was a guy who led the Raiders in, tackles last year with 89 in only 10 games and was a main focal point of that defense. The fact that he's already hitting up the Raiders on Twitter, hey, maybe he could be a guy that could be considered coming back. You never really know. But Bowman continues to rip the Raiders. Wasn't too crazy about that. What I am crazy about is craft beer because I love craft beer. And Tavour, guys, they're hooking me up, and they want to hook you up too. So what you need to do is you need to go to Tavour.com. Sign up is for free, okay? Sign up for free. You guys can discover rare craft beers all over the country, and you're going to get a nice little post notification when you sign up for free, and you can see these dope craft beers. And guess what? They can be delivered right to your door. Use promo code CHATSPORTS for $10 off your very first purchase. My next news bit I got for you guys, well, the Raiders, they signed a rookie kicker. The Arizona Cardinals released undrafted rookie kicker Matt McCrane for the season, and Coach Steve Wilkes has raved about him since, believing he would have a job in the NFL somewhere this year. Well, guess what? He does now. Mike Nugent is dealing with a hip injury, so Oakland needed a kicker. McCrane now has his chance, and it might only be a temporary chance, but at least this guy has a chance, to show what he's got and potentially earn a starting job. Raider Nation, I want to say thank you so much for tuning into the Raiders Report. My name is Mitchell Renz. Please follow me on Twitter at MitchellRenz365, and make sure you guys check out Tavour because they're sponsoring today's Raiders Report. Before I get into my rumors, I want to give a shout out to one of my friends. His name is Bazad, and he's like, "Yo, Mitch, is that you?" Bazad, what's going on, man? I appreciate you checking me out at the gym. Well, maybe not checking me out at the gym, but being a loyal follower of the Raiders Report. So shout out to you, Bazad. Zolfagar, shout out to you, my man. All right, guys, if you guys are new to the show, I got some rumors coming up here, and you're going to need to understand my Raider rumor scale. So if a rumor's 0 Chucky heads, tuck rule, tuck that, this is not going to happen. 1 Chucky head, a small shred of truth, 25% chance of happening. 2 Chucky heads, people are talking 50-50. 3 Chucky heads, pretty likely. 4 Chucky heads, believe it, baby. 100% this rumor is going to happen. The first rumor I got for you guys coming up here on the board, heat was a factor in the Week 3 loss for the Raiders. This one was interesting when I heard about it, and I'm going to give it 3 Chucky heads, pretty likely. Now, Jon Gruden said that the heat was a factor, but I don't want to put that as the sole blame for why the Raiders weren't able to close this one out. So, it was hot, it was humid, that's just Miami. I get it. And Gruden stated that the weather was a major factor in why a lot of the players were dealing with cramps. Like, it's why that they fell apart at the end of the game because their players were getting hurt because they were cramping up and they couldn't have the defense that they wanted to run. So I think that was a big reason for why, weather was a factor. So, guys, I want to know from you, though, okay? If the Raiders start 0-4, will Jon Gruden be on the hot seat? So I was talking about it being hot in Miami, but I'm telling you right now, if Gruden starts 0-4, that dude's going to be on the hot seat a little bit. I still don't think he's obviously going to get fired. He's there for 10 years, $100 million. So, but if the Raiders start 0-4, will Jon Gruden be on the hot seat? Type Y for yes or type N for no. Guys, if I was sweating right now, you wouldn't be able to tell because the clothes that I'm wearing are from Mizzen & Main. And if you guys want to wear awesome dress shirts, okay, with sweat wicking technology, they're super flexible. Chicks, I'm telling you, they dig them. You guys can go buy yourself one right now. www.comfortable.af. Shout out to Mizzen & Main for hooking me up with this dope shirt. The next rumor I got for you guys coming up here on the board, are the Raiders the worst fourth quarter team in the NFL? I'm giving this one 4 Chucky heads, and believe it, baby, because the Raiders are the worst fourth quarter team in the NFL, and stats prove that. The Raiders have blown 2 fourth quarter leads. I know I don't have to tell you guys that. It's been painful for me too. And they've been outscored in the fourth quarter 37-3. That's disgusting. Now, I will say I think they are a totally different team in the fourth quarter, and maybe it's because of age. They are the oldest team in the NFL with an average age of 28.6. And maybe their players, well, they're just getting tired because old age is setting in. But I will say this, the Raiders need to get better in the fourth quarter because they're not an 0-3 team. And until they figure out what the hell they're doing wrong in the fourth quarter, they're going to continue to lose games down the stretch. Next rumor coming up, is there trouble in the organization? Is there trouble going on in Raiderland? I'm going to give this one 2 Chucky heads. People are talking, so this is a 50-50 one. Now, during Gruden's recent press conference, the coach made a cryptic comment, which I think opened my eyes. There are a lot of stories behind the scenes, is his exact quote. Now, according to sources, Gruden essentially has his own staff that helps him judge talent and make roster decisions. Gruden has left the draft board and has left his own board, and he's totally separating himself and this other staff, apparently, from like guys like Reggie McKenzie and other people making decisions on the Raiders. Now, I can't imagine having a split personality is a good thing, especially inside the locker room. So the fact that these guys might not be getting along, it looks like there's a little bit of trouble in the organization. Maybe also the 0-3 start has a little bit to do with it. The next rumor coming up, are the Raiders a bottom 3 team? Well, we're about to release our power rankings tomorrow on NFL Daily here at Chat Sports. But I'm going to give this one 2 Chucky heads. People are talking. And the people that are talking are the consensus big type sports organizations out there. You know, your NFLs, your ESPNs, all those other ones. They're putting the Raiders in the bottom 3. Now, the Raiders are one of only 3 teams that still do not have a win, so I can get them being that low. But they have had a tough schedule. Opponents are 8-1. The Raiders' opponents are 8-1. The Rams, best team in the NFL. Broncos, 2-1. And the Dolphins, sure, not that great, but they're still 3-0. So, guys, I want to know from you, okay? How many games are the Raiders going to win this season? When I first opened this show up, I said 9 wins for the Raiders. I'm going to drop that down maybe to 8 or 7. I still think that this team can get it going a little bit because I do still think that they are a really talented team. They just got to get it together. Got to get it together. And if you guys want to bet on the Raiders, this is what you need to do. You guys got to go to BetDSI, the best place to bet on the Oakland Raiders. Go to chatsports.com/bet, okay? Chatsports.com/bet. You're going to use that promo code, LIVE120, for a 120% deposit bonus. What does that mean, Mitch? If you put down $100, you get $120 for free. It is the best deal on the internet. Bet your Bippy on that. Chatsports.com/bet. All right, the next rumor I got for you guys, Khalil Mack over Jon Gruden. What the heck does that mean, Mitch? Well, there was a poll, and Raider Nation would rather have Khalil Mack over Jon Gruden. I'm going to give this one 4 Chucky heads, believe it, baby. So SB Nation ran a poll, and they asked that simple question. Would you want Khalil Mack or Jon Gruden right now? Would you want Khalil Mack or Jon Gruden right now? 65% of those votes were in favor of Mack. Now, y'all are like, why is Mack on my screen? Why are we talking about Khalil Mack on the Raiders Report? Because he's still relevant. So, I want to know from you guys, who would you rather have on the Raiders right now? Would you want Khalil Mack back, or do you want to stick with Gruden? Give me a heart for Gruden. Give me a thumbs up for Mack. My last rumor I got for you guys, it's a good one because it's straight from you. Is it time to bench Derek Carr? I'm giving this one 0 Chucky heads. Tuck rule, tuck that. Now, on my last show that I did for the recap of Week 3, I asked you guys, is it time to bench Derek Carr? And it was like a unanimous decision that the Raiders should bench Derek Carr. Guys, why? Why would we bench Derek Carr? I understand he's been struggling, especially in the fourth quarter, but A.J. McCarron is our backup, and he's the only guy on the roster. A.J. McCarron is not better than Derek Carr. Now, here are the fourth quarter stats, because I think the first 3 quarters, Carr's been great. The fourth quarter is where he's killing it. Killing us. 22 of 32, 232 yards, 0 touchdowns, but 3 really costly interceptions, which is why a guy like Derek Carr is even being, I don't know, rumored to being benched. So, Derek Carr, please don't bench him. All right. So, guys, I'm going to ask you now. You guys can actually comment here on Facebook and on YouTube. Should the Raiders bench Derek Carr? Yes is a laughing face because I think that's a joke, and no is an angry face. So, should the Raiders bench Derek Carr? For any of you guys who are laughing at that, I think you're drunk, right? And if you're going to be drunk, there's only one place that I would ever do it. It's Tavour, okay? I love Tavour, and I love craft beers, and I love being able to discover rare craft beers that you can't find in stores. And if you guys love craft beers, Christmas is a few months away. It's an amazing gift for anybody out there, I promise you, because it's original. Go to Tavour.com, okay? Tavour.com. Sign up is for free. Free sign up. That's pretty lit. And you're going to get $10 off your very first purchase when you use promo code CHATSPORTS. Cheers to you, Tavour. All right, guys, I talked about some news and rumors. Now I'm going to get into my second segment here. Raiders stock up, stock down on how these guys played. You could also think of it as the best and worst players from week 3. So I'm going to start with stock up, and this is the guy who I think is an obvious one. It's Jordy Nelson. So 8 targets, 6 catches, 173 yards, and a touchdown. And he started the game off with a bang. 3 catches, 139 yards, and a touchdown, just streaking down the field. For any kids watching, hopefully you were covering your eyes during it. But he got the Raiders off to a hot start, which is what the Raiders needed. They needed to get them the mojo going. They needed to get that swagger, and the Raiders had it. And Jordy Nelson was bringing it. But then cramps set in for other players, and Jordy had to start returning punt returns. And then for some reason, well, they weren't getting him as involved. Again, there's his stats against the Dolphins. 6 catches, 173 yards. That's a beautiful yards per catch at 28.8. The next guy I got coming up here, stock up, is MARSHAWN LYNCH. 19 carries, 64 yards, and that touchdown. 3rd straight game with a touchdown. They keep feeding beast mode, and I understand that he's got a low yards per carry right now of 3.5. But the Raiders are chewing up clock, and they are feeding this guy, and he runs so hard every single play. And this guy is a Gruden grinder. Like, I understand that, sure, there's sometimes he might not break off the big run, but when he's wearing down defenses, that's what I want to see. And, like, if we can continue to feed this guy the rock, that's when the Raiders, I think, are going to be ultimately successful. He's getting the goal line touches, which is something that I absolutely love. So 3 touchdowns for MARSHAWN on the year, and his stock is up after his performance against the Dolphins. The last guy who I think stock is up, this is a new guy. It's Clinton McDonald. Last week against the Dolphins, 3 tackles, and he had a sack. Now, I think he has been by far the best interior defender for the Raiders. Now, the Raiders aren't getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback, but he's at least allowing his teammates, I think, to get one-on-ones. I did like what Arden Key, he was an honorable mention for me in this week, because Arden Key, I thought, did look pretty good. He's obviously an athletic guy coming out of LSU, but if Clint McDonald can still be taking on double teams, he can allow a guy like Arden Key, you know, ultimately to be much more successful. So, guys, those are my top 3 guys for stock up, but I want to know from you, who was the Raiders' MVP in Week 3? Was it Jordy Nelson? Was it McDonald? Was it MARSHAWN LYNCH? If it's none of those guys, let me know. Who was the MVP in Week 3? My MVP is Tavour because, guys, I love craft beer. And if you guys follow me on Instagram at Mitchell Renz 365, you guys are going to know that I post a shit ton of pictures on me drinking craft beer because I absolutely love it. And with Tavour, I can get rare craft beers delivered right to my door. And if you guys want craft beers delivered to you, what you need to do is you need to go to Tavour.com and use that promo code CHATSPORTS for $10 off your very first purchase. And let me remind you, sign up is for free. You can't beat that. All right, now we're going to go to some stock downs. We got to meld this out a little bit. It's Derek Carr. Yeah, I know. Shocker, right? 345 yards, the touchdown, the 2 picks, costly interception, which is really what hurt us, right? So we threw that really, really bad one in the end zone, which I think totally took the sails out of the Raiders, and that's kind of when I was like, yep, another L ticket coming here for Oakland. But Derek Carr's played well for the first 3 quarters, but you're not paying a guy like Derek Carr to only play well the first 3 quarters. You're paying him to be clutch. You're paying him to be a solid guy in the 4th quarter, and he's just not getting it done. He's playing scared. I want to see Derek Carr from 2016 because that dude was legit. He was an MVP candidate. The 27-39, like the guy's up around 75% completion percentage, 345 yards, averaging over 300 yards a game. The guy's been great. Just let's limit the interceptions. Please, Derek. Please, please, please. I don't want to have to keep putting you on stock down. Next stock down, I think you got to look at the head coach. It's got to be Jon Gruden. So the Raiders blow another 4th quarter lead. That's 2 weeks in a row. That shit can't happen. It's been poor play calling at the end of the game, which I think has really hurt them. They come out firing on all cylinders the first 2 quarters. And then it's nothing. Like, nothing. Like, I don't understand why we're getting away from what was working so well. To me, that was really frustrating. And then maybe the most frustrating play call I saw. Now, Keith Smith's a good fullback. I'm not going to take anything away from Keith Smith. But MARSHAWN LYNCH has got 3 rushing touchdowns, and for some reason, maybe Pete Carroll and Jon Gruden, they're talking, people are giving MARSHAWN LYNCH the ball at the 1-yard line. MARSHAWN has proven on almost every single rush attempt this year that he finds his way to get in the end zone. So 4th and 1, game on the line, essentially. You're going to do a fullback dive with Keith Smith? This isn't Madden. Give it to MARSHAWN, John. God, grinding my gears. All right, next stock down. it's got to be Reggie Nelson for me. So Reggie got beat on the Kenny Stills touchdown, and there was a nice pass and catch by Tannehill and Stills. I get it, but he did still get beat. And this might be harmful or hurtful, but I thought Reggie Nelson looked hella old in the second half. He looked tired, and maybe the heat set in. Guys, I get it. It's hot in Miami. But these guys are NFL players, and they need to be well-conditioned. And on the, at the very end of the game, Reggie was so out of position on the Dolphins' end-around touchdown that basically sealed the deal for the Dolphins. So when I look at just second-half production, man, Reggie, I'm sorry. Your stock is down. Guys, I want to know from you, though, who was the Raiders' least valuable player in Week 3? Okay, was it Nelson? Was it CARR? Was it somebody else that I didn't mention? Please let me know. Who was the Raiders' least valuable player in Week 3? If you didn't watch the game because maybe you were drunk on Tavor, hey, I got an awesome thing for you guys. I need you guys, okay? I need you guys to go to Tavor.com. Okay, go to Tavor.com. I want you to sign up for free. Tell your friends about it so they can get some craft beer as well. Shipped to them. Discover rare craft beers from all over the country at Tavor.com. Use that promo code ChatSports for $10 off your very first purchase. And also, DM me at Mitchell Renz 365. Tell me that you did it. I'll give you a shout out on the next Raiders Report. All right. Next segment I'm going into is the Week 4 matchup because we have to keep looking ahead, guys. And it's the Cleveland Browns against the Oakland Raiders. Sunday, 4 o'clock Eastern Time in Oakland. The Browns are coming into this one 1-1-1. I hate saying it. Sounds weird. The over-under in this game is 45 points. And the Raiders are still looking for their first win. But they are favorited according to our friends over at BetDSI. So, what is important in this game? Let's make Baker Mayfield look like a rookie. Baker came out and played well against the Jets. Let's make this guy look like a rookie, and let's run a balanced offense. If we want to take some pressure off of CARR, let's keep running the ball with MARSHAWN, take some pressure off him, and ultimately I think that could lead to a potential good Raiders win. So, guys, I want to know from you, though, okay? I want you guys to predict the score. Browns versus Raiders, all right? And this is also the thing. If you predict the score right, okay, I'm going to give you $25, okay? So what you have to do in order to do that, you got to DM me on Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365. Mitchell Renz 365, and just give me the score prediction, okay? Whoever's the first one to do it and you get it right, I'm going to send $25 right to you from my Venmo account. And I'm really hoping the Raiders win because I put on BetDSI that the Raiders are going to win. And I also said on Twitter that I am not going to shave my face until the Raiders win. So I really hope they do because I'm starting to look like a caveman. So, but luckily Miz and Main helps me out a little bit too. All right, guys, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in to the Raiders Report, and I want to say thank you to Tavor for sponsoring the Raiders Report. And if you guys want me to keep doing these shows, I need you guys to subscribe to the Oakland Raiders Report on YouTube and tell your friends about it, please. I'll be back after the Raiders, hopefully Week 4 win against the Browns. So until then, go Raiders.